So, hello everyone. Today in the morning, welcome to our class. Today we're going to have a little bit of a review about the present simple, a topic that we already talked about during the classes last week. So we're going to start a little bit with the introduction of this. We see truckers driving on the roads every day, but ice road truckers are different. They drive trucks in the north of Canada, but they don't drive on roads, because there are no roads in the north, just lakes and rivers. In winter, the water freezes and the trucks go on the ice. Then the truckers take food to the towns in the north. So, taking into account what we saw in class and what we learned about the present simple, we're going to analyze this first introduction here, this first paragraph that says, we see truckers. We see that there are many verbs. This one is see. We also have another verb that is, for example, are. That's the verb to be. We have also drive. We have another verb here, which is let me check, which is the verb drive. Okay, again. And there are other verbs, like for example this one, freezes, and go, and take here. Okay, so there is something that we can see here, is that this paragraph is of course in present simple. Here is conjugation of the verb see with we. As we can see, there is no s in the end of this verb. We see truckers driving on the roads every day, but ice road truckers are different. As we can see here we have a subject, we have a verb, and we have a complement here. We see truckers driving on the roads every day, but ice road truckers are different. So here we have again a subject, here we have a verb, and here we have a complement. So as you can see, in English and in any other language, the paragraphs are composed by sentences that have three parts: subject, a verb, and a complement. And then they are divided by means of periods. So here we have another sentence. For example, they drive trucks in the north of Canada, and then we have a period. So they, as you know, is the subject, drive is the verb, and trucks in the north of Canada is the complement. Then we of course stop the sentence with a period and we continue with another sentence. But they don't drive on roads because there are no roads in the north. So as we can see here, we have a subject here, which is they. But this drive, the verb is drive, but hey, it's negative. Don't is one of the negative auxiliaries for present simple. They don't drive on roads. That means they don't do it. They don't drive on roads because there are no roads in the north. So this is the reason why they don't do it. But there are just lakes and rivers. Now we have again a period because that is the end of the sentence, and then we continue with another sentence. In winter, comma. This is just a matter of a phrase that is trying to connect what we're going to say later. The water freezes. Which one is the subject? The subject is the water. The water freezes and the trucks go on the ice. Then the truckers take food to the towns in the north. As we can see here, the subject is the water. It's also pronounced the water if you want to say it. The water freezes and the trucks go on the ice. Don't forget, water would be a little bit of an American pronunciation, and water would be a British pronunciation in a way. You know, in different regions of the United States and in different regions of the Great Britain, they pronounce different. It doesn't have to be water all the time. It can be water or water if you want. But it depends on the region as well. The same as in Colombia. Everyone in different regions, they pronounce different. You see? Okay. Then the truckers. The truckers is here the subject. Take food. That would be the verb take. Food to the towns in the north. So as you can see here, when we speak about the truckers, it's plural, so we don't add any s to the verb. We don't conjugate the verb with an s because it is plural. Okay, we will continue checking what is going on here, and I will review some other aspects of the present simple. Okay, so now we will continue with Lisa Kelly. Or Liza. Okay. Lisa Kelly drives a big truck on the ice. It's a long journey of 600 kilometers and she doesn't stop for hours. It's not easy, but the good thing is Lisa doesn't drive in the summer because there is no ice. She makes all her money in the winter, so she doesn't work at all in the summer. She has a long holiday. Okay, so here we have a paragraph about a lady, about a woman. And yes, a woman, if we talk about subjects, is a she, right? So here, Lisa Kelly drives. As you can see, the conjugation is drives with an S. It is way different to the conjugation we have here with they drive trucks. As you can see, they drive, it doesn't have an S here, right? But of course, when we are talking about Lisa, because it's a she, then yes, we add an S here. So every time we are conjugating a verb in present simple with she or with he, we have to add an S. We have to like end the verb in S. There are some rules that we have to follow anyway. So we gotta pay attention to the rest. So Lisa Kelly drives a big truck on the ice. It's a long journey of 600 kilometers and she doesn't. So here, she doesn't stop for hours. What happens here? It's negative. When it's negative, the auxiliary is doesn't. Right? But why? Because we're talking about she. She doesn't stop. So stop is the verb, but doesn't stop is the negative of that verb. But why do we write doesn't and we don't write don't, like in this case here? They don't drive. Because we're talking about she, third person. She doesn't. Third person, she doesn't. But plural here, they don't drive. Singular, she doesn't stop for hours. So it is different. Now you know that there are two ways to give a negative to the sentences. One is don't and the other one is doesn't. Doesn't is only for he, she, it. But don't is for plural. It's also for the subject you. It's also for the subject, of course, we and they. And of course, it works as an exception for I. Okay? So he, she, it doesn't. And the rest of them don't. Okay. So we will continue here. But the good thing is Lisa doesn't drive in the summer. Here we go again. Doesn't drive, a negation. She doesn't drive in the summer because there's no ice. She makes. Here we go again. Make is the verb, but because we are conjugating in present simple with she, we cannot forget that we have to add an S in the end. She makes all her money in the winter, so she doesn't work at all in the summer. She has a long day. Okay, so in this paragraph, we knew about and we reviewed about the use of the negative as well. Negative and positive or affirmative when we are talking about present simple for she in this case. Now we're going to talk about the next paragraph, which is a dangerous job. So here we go. you're going to read with me at home. The weather is bad, and ice road truckers have a lot of accidents. Kyle Gulkowski, also an ice road trucker, talks about how he does this dangerous job. And he says, I drive with one hand on the door handle. Sometimes ice breaks, you see. Then I get out quickly before my truck goes into the water. I lose the truck, but not my life. Okay. So this one is interesting because I think it's mixing many subjects in the same paragraph. So here we talk about the weather. As you can see, the weather, or as you know, the weather is not a person. The weather is, we can say, is an object, right? So in this case, we're not using an action verb, like for example, drive, or for example, make, or for example, has. This one is not an action verb. This one is a to be verb, right? So the weather is bad, and ice road truckers have a lot of accidents. Okay, so okay, we will continue. Now we are going to talk about a man. In this case, Kyle Gulkowski. I don't know if he's around here. No, he's not. Kyle Gulkowski, also an ice road trucker, talks. So Kyle is a he. He's a man. So when we conjugate the verb talk with he in present simple, we have to end the verb in s, with an s. Talks. He talks. Kyle Gulkowski, also an ice road trucker, talks about how he does. Here we go. The verb is do, of course, but because we are here connecting it or conjugating it with he in present, then does. And here, of course, there is an s in the end of the video. There is something else happening here, but I'm going to explain this later. So about how he does this dangerous job. And then he talks in first person, I drive. And as you can see, we don't have any s after drive or in the end of drive. We only have I drive with one hand on the door handle. Okay, so again, you knew that the s in the end of the verbs are only for he, she, it. So in this case, I drive doesn't have an s in the end. Okay, I drive with one hand on the door handle. What is the door handle? The door handle is like this part of the door that you grab with your hand in order to open the door. That is the door handle. It's like a little piece of metal sometimes. Okay, so sometimes the ice breaks. Here we're talking about the ice. The ice. And what is the ice? Is the ice plural? Is the ice like we? Or is the ice like I? Or is the ice a he, she, it? So yes, the ice is it. The ice breaks. So because the ice is like saying it, then we have to conjugate the verb break with an s in the end. Breaks. So the ice breaks. You see. Then I get out quickly before my truck, here we go again, goes. But when he says I get, no s, I get out quickly before my truck. And now the truck is an object, is this big object that we see here. My truck goes into the water, or the water, if you want to say it like that. I lose the truck, but not my life, of course. Okay, so as you can see in this section, we reviewed a little bit of what we did last class, or I think last week, in our synchronous class about the present simple. So I hope you liked it, and we will continue with the rest. Okay, in order to give you a summary of all the things that we have talked about, so these are some charts, where you can see how the affirmative, negative, and interrogative sentences in present simple tense go. So as you can see, there is a kind of conjugation. I live, you live, but I think you can see here that he, she, it, they go with s in the end, in the verb, in the end of the verb. He lives, she lives, and it lives. So and as you can see in I, we, you, they, it's only live, live. But in the other ones, lives. So as you can see, he, she, it, they are different than the others. That conjugation is totally different than the others in affirmative. But what about negative? Okay, let's check negative. All of them have the auxiliary negative don't here. But what about he, she, it? They are always different, and they have doesn't. He doesn't live. But there is something that we need to take into account. He doesn't live. She doesn't live. And it doesn't live. But what happens to the verb here? We don't have any s in the end of the verb. Why? Because we already have here an auxiliary verb. So because of that, we don't write any s in the end of the verb. Okay, here we do because we don't have any auxiliary, but here we have auxiliaries in the sentence, so we don't write any s here. Doesn't here, and doesn't here. They already are giving us some conjugation. We don't have to write anything else. And of course, with the other subjects, don't, and we don't, you don't, and they don't need any s because, of course, they are not third person, and you know that. Interrogative or questions, as you can see, all of them have an auxiliary in the beginning. Do I live? Do you live? But what about he, she, and it? They have does. Does he live? Does she live? Does it love? In this case, I don't know why it says love. Does it live? I think objects, okay, not objects, but probably animals, like they also live. Does it live? Does it live with you? Your dog, what about your cat? Does it live with you? Okay, but here it says love. Okay, that's okay. So I hope you have this like present in your mind when you are studying this kind of tense, which is the present simple. Okay, we don't have many problems with the conjugation of the subjects I, you, we, they, because they're easy in a way. Like those verbs have almost the same. I mean, we can say almost, but they have the same spelling as the normal way of the verbs. But in the case of he, she, it, the conjugation is different. So here I can show you some examples of how those conjugations with he, she, it work. For example, we have the first word, which is work, and when you are conjugating it with he, she, it in present simple, it goes works only with the s. But when, for example, the verb ends in h, like this one here, watches. What about double s? Passes. What about with x? Relaxes with es. And what about rush? Rushes. So as you can see, ch, double s, x only, and sh, they have the ending es when we are conjugating with he, she, it. So we can say he watches, she passes, it relaxes, or Maria rushes home, for example. Rush. What is to rush? To run because you're out of time. Because, for example, you need to take the bus to school or to university, so you have to rush in order to get it, right? Okay, not to be late, of course. What about with Y? There is this Y with a consonant before and a Y with a vowel before. So when this happens, a consonant before the Y, we need to change the Y for IES. Example, Aleja studies English every day. So as you can see, it's very easy. So every time we see a consonant before the Y, when we are going to conjugate with he, she, it, we change the Y and we delete it and we write IES and it goes studies. What about play? Because play has a Y in the end, but before the Y we have a vowel, we only need to add an S. So these are some rules that we need to take into account when we are conjugating. So James Rodriguez plays football, you see, or plays soccer. Okay, that's very good. So what about the other ones? For example, when a verb ends in O, so it goes with ES as well, like do goes does, go goes. But be goes with am, is, are, because they are, of course, the verb to be, and have changes to has. So there are some, of course, some exceptions in the language, as everywhere they are. So these ones are called irregular forms. Don't forget that these examples are only for he, she, and it. Okay. Okay, right now I am checking a piece of homework that was sent by one of the students. The homework has to do with uh, presenting or writing a present simple composition, a short present simple composition regarding any topic that you liked. So here we are. This one talks about the Himalayas, and one thing that I was like taking into account here, that I was looking at here, is the Himalayas here is used in plural. So when you're using the Himalayas in plural, you say are, not is. Okay. So, but that is just a small mistake that you can change in the future, because I believe in the like in normal grammar it would be Himalaya, but you can say, of course, Himalayas. But if you're going to say Himalayas is plural, you're talking about like the whole range of mountains. Okay. So, what else can we see? We're checking here for the grammatical aspects of present simple. It is located on the Asian continent. That's very good. It crosses. That's great. Several countries. Okay, it goes through, you can say as well. It goes through several countries. Okay, let me check here. It says on the planet, it separates. That's very good. It separates. That's very well used. Very good. Okay. Many people dream. That's great. We don't have an S here. Don't have it because we're talking about they, many people. So we don't have any S here. Okay, that's very good. I have a friend who dreams. That's very good. This is a very good conjugation. I have. You don't write any S, or you don't write any has. You have I have. Okay, that's very good. But who dreams? Because you're talking about a friend. It could be a he or a she. So the conjugation is with S in the end. Dreams. That's great. Okay. What about this one? She says she would love to summit at one of the. Okay, that's very good. That's nice conjugation. Where else? She can see. Okay. Says here, and all the time she wants to be at the window to admire its beauty. We're talking about Nevado del Tolima. That's very good. This conjugation is totally right. That's very good. It has to be with an S in the end because we're talking about third person. And what else? She researches a lot online about her favorite mountains. That's very good. That's very good. Very good conjugation here. After an H, we write ES when we are conjugating in present simple. That's very good. And what else? Let me check. She knows. That's very good. We're talking about third person here. That's great. And we have the questions. Why is known as the highest border in the world? So I think we need something else here. Like, why are the Himalayas known as the highest border in the world? Or why is Himalaya known as the highest border in the world? That would be the correct question. So there is something missing here. Okay, what are you talking about? I know that we're talking about the Himalayas here, but when we are asking, we need to, of course, emphasize. Okay, I mean, the subject is always important. That's very good. Let me check the other questions. Where is the highest mountain in the world located? That's very good. How many countries does the Himalayas cross? Okay, here we go again. Himalayas, you're talking about the plural way of Himalaya. So here you have does. So it's better to write how many countries do the Himalayas cross in this case. Anyway, this is something that you should check if you want to write Himalayas in plural or in singular. Okay, or the Himalaya range mountains or something like that. Okay, what is Annapurna? Annapurna one. Why? Okay, why is Annapurna one of your favorite mountains? That's very good. And what are Laura's favorite mountains? That's very good. I think overall this homework is really good because it's using what we learned about present simple in a correct way. Just minor mistakes that can be fixed with the pass of the time and with the process of learning. This is very good. I also like the way you composed everything here. And I also like that you're separating sentences with periods. You're using correct punctuation and correct spelling in most of the words. That's very good. Okay, so we will continue checking another homework. Okay, in our second homework that we're checking today, I can see that someone is talking about Maria. It says here Maria is so attractive for me and she's really beautiful. Let me check what else I can see here. She works in Mariquita these days, but ever comes to Lebanon. I don't know if you're trying here to say, and I don't know the students who are watching this video, can you please like try to guess or try to correct it a little bit. She works in Mariquita these days, but ever comes to Lebanon. I don't know if it's never comes to Lebanon or she sometimes comes to Lebanon, probably. Okay, that's something that we need to discuss. So the owner of this homework can tell me these days if it was sometimes she comes to Lebanon or she never comes to Lebanon. I don't know. Okay. I really love these little girls. This little girl is so special and cute. I really love these little girls. So I don't know if you're talking. Yes, you're talking about one girl. You probably committed a mistake. You didn't want to probably, but there is an extra S that you don't need. Okay, so special and cute. This love is so important. Okay, that's very good. She's a forestal engineer. First, you need here something which is an article. Could it be a or an or the? What do you think it is? So when you're checking this video, try in your house, try at home, try to guess inside yourself. Is it a or an or the? She's a forestal engineer, or she's an forestal engineer, or she's the forestal engineer. Okay, and I think there is a spelling mistake here in double L. You only need one L. Okay, but we are checking the present simple here. What else can I see? And works like people more old. She has she has 2 years of experience in Savia. Okay, that's very good. Um, the energy company, we have 8 months of relationship. He drives, she tells. Oh, okay, here we go. So here she tells the correct conjugation here, because we're talking about present simple, or the tense is present simple, and we're talking about a girl. In this case, she tells. So here you need an s, right? Don't forget about that. You need an S here. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to. How can I? Okay. Here you need an S in this part. What else? It scares me. That's very good. Very well. Very good. Very well conjugated. If something happens, I death. Okay, death is a noun. I mean, this spelling here is correct, but death is a noun. So this is something that we have to take into account. Is it a noun or is it a verb? I think you probably wanted to write a verb. I die instantly. Okay. Now, what about this? In academic papers, and this one is academic, it's for university, although it's informal as well. But in academic papers, we don't write these kinds of like emojis or text emojis or things like those. So next time, avoid that. You probably want to express that you are happy or that you're laughing or something, then you can add something inside parentheses or something like I'm happy about that, or I laugh every time I think about this. Okay, so when it's formal papers, you have to explain a lot. Okay, this is my short text about present simple. Okay, that's very good. I don't see any other mistake. Let me check. He drives. Okay, no. So it was just these three minor mistakes, or three minor things that you should change a little bit. So I hope I could help you with this homework correction. Okay. What else can I say before I go? Here, the punctuation. I think that you are separating. This is not present simple, of course. I mean, this what I'm going to say is not part of the present simple grammar, but it has to do with punctuation. Punctuation is very important in all tenses, no matter if they are present simple, future, past, whatever they are. But this punctuation here, the comma all the time, comma all the time, comma all the time here. In some cases, of course, you need the commas because you are separating. For example, she loves the mountains, the nature, the stars, and life. Okay. So in this case, you can like separate with commas. But when you end a sentence, you complete a sentence, you need a period and not a comma. Okay, that's something that you need to fix as well. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much for this homework, because it has some sentences that we can fix, and something to show others, because many people can have the same problem sometimes. So if you have the same mistakes or almost similar mistakes, then you can check them out. Okay, so we are here again with our third and last homework revision here in this video today. This one is about why to stop eating meat. Okay, let's check what it says. Don't forget that we are checking mainly the present simple. Uh, there can be any other mistakes, probably, punctuation, spelling, and other things, probably vocabulary as well. But we're going to try to focus on present simple. Sometimes I'm going to mention other mistakes, but that's okay. Anyway, it's for everyone to try to fix their mistakes as well. So here we have many sentences in this paragraph. Something that I can see here, it says temperature increase. This one, all of us here. Okay, that's very good. Plus, this conjugation is great, I think, because here is conjugated with the pronoun or the subject we, which is very good in this case. That's great. Let's see what else we can find. Temperature, pollution. Okay. In here it says these are and a lot more are the reasons because the earth is suffering. I think the correct word for connecting here is why. So we should try to change this one. These and a lot more are the reasons why the earth is suffering. Not because. Don't forget that because is for answering a question that says why. In the expression in English, we say why. These are the reasons why. Like these are the causes of something. Okay. So I think I saw the same mistake here because, and it has to be why as well. So, but did you know meat consumption? Okay, consumption. This is another word here, consumption. Something that we have to change here. Meat consumed or consumption. Okay, you have to check that out as well. Okay, don't forget about it. Okay. This program sometimes is a little bit funny. Okay, what else? Let's try to check on the present simple. An animal overproduction generating an impact on the environment. Okay, this is very important information according to the FAO. Cattle breeding, land use, the production of a kilo of beef requires that. This is a very good conjugation here. Requires that. This is nice because we're talking about the production of a kilo of beef. That means we're talking about an object. It, not a person, is an object. It, the production, is considered an object in this case. Okay, so requires, very good conjugation here. Vegetables represents, that's very good. This is a correct conjugation as well. Let me check. We can realize. In this way, we can realize is much more sustainable. That's very good. That's very good. Realize. We don't need NS here because we're talking about we. This is very good. Maybe aspiring to people stop eating meat could sounds. Okay, here we go. So in this one, in this sentence, sounds. There is a conjugation with S. But something that you probably need to know is that this one is a modal verb. And after the modal verbs, I don't know if you knew this from before, probably last semester, or you didn't know before. That's okay. Now you will know. All verbs that go after a modal verb, they have to be in infinitive, okay? Or in a normal way at least. So it says eating meat could sound without the S because this verb is after could, and could is a modal verb. Okay, to reduce is consumption. Here we go again. This is just a vocabulary mistake. It's the same that we saw here. No problem. I think you can fix it. And immediate needing. Oh, okay. Overall, this homework is very good. I think it is accomplishing what we wanted, which is to have a composition using present simple. It is a short composition. The topic is really good. I like this topic as well. I like all topics anyway. I always learn a lot with everything you write. And but those are just minor mistakes that we should consider fixing. Sometimes it has to do with the context, sometimes it has to do with the intention of what we want to say. So just check this homework out and try to fix it the best you can. So this is it. This was all for today. Thank you very much everyone for watching this video. I hope that you had the opportunity to review a little bit of the classes that we had before, and probably the classes that you had last semester with other teachers, and also that you had the opportunity to check some mistakes and to do some revision about the mistakes that you have.